Byron Graves is a writer born and raised on the Red Lake Nation in northern Minnesota. They've won several awards for their 2023 debut novel, Rez Ball, a coming-of-age story about an Ojibwe high school basketball player. In Byron's new novel, we meet another gifted young Ojibwe athlete, Bryce, who finds solace from the many serious issues in his life through learning how to skateboard. Here's our What We're Reading conversation with Byron Graves. Your new novel is called Medicine Wheels. Can you tell us the significance in those words, medicine wheels?
So, funny story. I originally was going to call the book Skate, which is Lakota for play or fun. And there was a moment in the book where the grandfather tells his the main character, Bryce, you know, when you're out skateboarding and you're having a tough time and you're nervous or you're scared about what it is, remember Skate, just have fun or play. And it's this pivotal moment in the book later when he thinks about what his grandpa told him when he's about to have this final moment in the skate competition. Mm-hmm. But we were worried that people wouldn't know how to pronounce it. It's spelled skate, S-K-A-T-E, and it has an accent mark on the E. But my people at HarperCollins, who I love and trust, they were like, people are going to call it skate. So right. They were like, you need to come up with a new title. And I was like, oh, no, I need a new title. So I was thinking. And then one day it just popped in my mind, Medicine Wheels. Because in this story, skateboarding is this escapism for the character. It's this magical, beautiful distraction. It's this healing thing that this character is utilizing. It's his catalyst for growing and moving forward and finding something he loves in his life. And so skateboarding and wheels and medicine wheels and how sacred the medicine wheel is to my people, it just all clicked. And when I told him that title, everybody was like, oh, you did it. That's a great title. Yes. I was like, yes, I did it again.
So that worked out really nicely. Yeah.
And now I can't imagine it being anything else. It was meant to be Medicine Wheels.
Right.
Yeah.
So the main character in your story is Bryce Fairbanks. What do you want us to know about Bryce going in?
He is going through a really tough summer. He lost his dad when he was really young, several years back before the book starts. And his dad was a brilliant skateboarder, maybe would have ended up being one of the top professional skateboarders if he wouldn't have passed away. So he's finding this connection with his father through this thing his father used to do, that he has these childhood memories of watching his dad in the summer at skate competitions. His mother is having a really tough time from losing her partner and trying to find her place in the world. And she breaks her probation when the book starts and she's locked up. So he has to move to the reservation that he grew up on. And he's connecting with his grandparents who take him in, and he's connecting with his childhood friends. So it's really, really a lot about this character trying to find himself in this summer and finding friends and family and skateboarding, and how can he go from this dark, sad, lonely place to feeling accepted and he has somewhere that he belongs.
So yes, Bryce does go through a lot in this book, and he goes through some really tough times. You just mentioned a lot of the things that are coming up for him. I think you did a really great job at showing Bryce throughout the story actively thinking and reflecting on his emotions and giving language to that. And I imagine young readers may find this a helpful modeling in a way.
Yeah, we're very intentional when we're writing young adult books. My editors and Cynthia Leidig-Smith, she's a brilliant, wonderful author in her own right. She really helps me shape those feelings and thoughts, because I'm trying to write the best book that I can, but part of that is also asking yourself, how is this going to impact a young reader? What are they going to take away from this experience with this book? So we really want to hit some of those things that my epiphanies that I gained later in life about things. I'm trying to go back and talk to younger me in a way. And so when this character is a little more insightful or figuring something out or digging a little bit deeper, it's kind of adult me going into teenage me and wishing that I could have had some of those lessons and experiences and understandings of some of those things at that age. So I'm always trying to plant these seeds for my young readers in their real life that they can take from the book and be like, oh, you know what? I was reading that book and this character had this similar thing happen that happened to me. And this is what they took from it. This is how that tragedy wasn't an in vain, or this is how this experience helped shape them and make them a better person or a better skateboarder or whatever that is. So I'm always trying to hope that my young readers not only are entertained and have a good time with the book, but walk away maybe with some lessons.
I really enjoyed the camaraderie between Bryce and his best friend, Robbie. Robbie seems to know intuitively when to support Bryce, when to give him a little tough love, when to crack a joke. Can you talk about the importance of this friendship?
Yeah, for me growing up, some of my closest friends, some of my best friends, we balanced out each other. We had different personalities, we had different experiences. And so that really kind of helped shape how we would approach something, not only as teenagers, but later in life, knowing that you have that friend who is the one who's the goofy person. And sometimes it's a nice reminder when you think about why you love them, why you appreciate them, why they matter to you, to soak in some of that and then use some of that yourself and being like, you know what, it's okay to be a little lighthearted once in a while. Maybe I need to crack a joke once in a while. So I really wanted to write a book that had a balance of characters. So you had different elements, kind of like a great band. You want to have a good lead guitar. You want to have the bass guitar doing its thing. You want to have the great drummer putting it all together. And then those vocals and those lyrics. And I felt like with my characters, they each had an important aspect to balance everything out. And Robbie is my Indian humor. He's my Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles. He's, when you're writing stuff that has tough content or darker content, for me, I always like books and movies and TV shows and music. It's my escapism from reality. And so when I'm bringing you into a tough story, I want to also have it be fun as well. So that's what Robbie's purpose was, really.
So throughout the story is a plot line of a big oil corporation called DXL and their plans to dig a pipeline expansion adjacent to the Wolf Creek Reservation, which is where the story takes place. And Bryce joins his friends in protesting against this. Why was this important for you to add to the story?
I think when you're trying to tell an indigenous perspective, you're having not only the interpersonal challenges, intergenerational trauma is lingering somewhere there, the effects of genocide, the effects of land loss. So I wanted to also have that existential branch of all the things we deal with, racism, and we deal with, people getting angry when we even bring up a land acknowledgement or anything like that. And, you see data centers moving into all these places, and we've had oil, pipelines in all of the places where it's always in places where people don't have a lot of money or a lot of power. It's always impoverished areas that they go take advantage of and take the resources from. So it's been a fight for us since 1776. And I didn't want to have this story not also include that as one of the challenges or layers or experiences of these characters.
Right.
You would hope that they can just live their life and go be normal teenagers and just go have fun or just go do what they need to do. But as an indigenous person, there's always 8 other things that are kind of around you that you have to think about, be aware of, deal with, fight for.
This is what we're reading on KAXE, and we're talking with writer Byron Graves. Their new novel has just been published. It's called Medicine Wheels. I'd love to talk about Bryce's grandpa, who is another great character of yours.
He is such an inspiration to Bryce, and when he tells him about his own battle with alcohol when he was younger, he says, "The alcohol masks the pain, but kept me from understanding it. To defeat your enemy, you have to know what it is. To see and understand my enemy, I needed to walk the red road." And I've never heard of that phrase before. Can you tell us about the red road?
Mm-hmm. It's getting in touch with our culture and who we are. It's decolonization. It's remembering that alcohol wasn't something that we had as a people, and it's been something that's been a huge challenge for a lot of people. So I wanted to show someone who was older, who understood it and wanted to share some of that experiences. In that scene, the grandfather is trying to place some empathy into Bryce's heart and his mind with the experience that his mother's going through, so that he can better understand how to still love his mother who's having that challenge, and giving him hope that she can find that peace by utilizing the red road and that sobriety.
Right, because Bryce is actually pretty angry at his mom
Yes.
for a lot of the novel, too.
Yep.
And so Grandpa's telling him, look at it this way.
Correct. Yep.
To me, the story is really about community in a way, with friends and family. And it's so central to the story. It's what gets Bryce through the tough times. Community comes together to advocate for the protection of their land through the pipeline protests. When Bryce's grandfather dies, the community comes together. It really makes the place a home for Bryce, I think, especially when he needs it so badly. Can you talk about the role community plays in Medicine Wheels?
I feel like on my reservation, on my people, we really still have that connection to who we always have been and that connection to our ancestors. And part of that tribalism was taking care of each other and knowing each other's roles. And if somebody needed something, you went and help them with it because you're kind of a team and you're so connected. And I think that's really like a meaningful experience to share when you're writing an Indigenous story, is the power of that community and that interconnection of it, and how we will always, even whether we like you or don't like you, when it comes down to it, because we're from the same res and the same tribe, we're going to have your back if you need us to have your back. You know what I mean? So that's something that I wanted to share in this story, is the power of that and the beauty in that, and that we'll always be there for each other. And sometimes it's when you least expect it. And that's, like you said, something that's really pivotal to Bryce and uplifting to Bryce, is how much his community ends up helping him and caring for him and taking him in.
Now, I can't let you go without talking about skateboarding because it's so central to the story. And you do talk about it at the end. Is that how you got into skateboarding? What inspired you to write about this story and show us all about skateboarding on the reservation?
Yeah, so I always loved skateboarding as a fan. I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater video games for thousands of hours. I would always watch X Games. I was always watching skate clips. But where I grew up, there wasn't a ton of like places that you would skateboard at. We do have a skate park now in Red Lake, and it's awesome, and I love skating there. But when I was a kid, there wasn't it was a lot of dirt roads and grass. But during the pandemic, when I got the idea to write Medicine Wheels, I was going through a really dark time, and all my family and friends were here, and I was spending hours and hours and days alone. And I started to feel like Tom Hanks in that movie where he just has the volleyball when he has Wilson.
Castaway.
Yeah, in Castaway. And my loneliness was really bringing me down. And I was like, I believe in write what you know. And so with Rez Ball, my first book, I was writing about my high school basketball experience that I had lived. So I had a million things to say and share and already knew. But I was like, you don't know skateboarding. How are you going to tell a skateboarding story? So I went and bought a skateboard, and I would wait until it was midnight. And I would go skate in empty like 7-Eleven parking lots because I was embarrassed if I fell or something. So I spent time just getting comfortable on the board. And then the next thing I knew, I was at a skate park. And I had my headphones on, and it was a beautiful sunny day, and I was figuring out how to groove around in a bowl. And I realized it was like a meditation, and it was healing. And whatever I was anxious about or sad about or scared about, I was always like getting lost in the skateboarding. And I would feel like I would forget my worries and troubles, and I would feel healed when I walked away from that skate park. And so learning to just be on the skateboard, learning what it felt like to fall, learning how to do tricks, understanding it all like gave me all that additional like layers and knowledge to share with that character. And he's learning how to skateboard, so we were in the same exact spot where in Rez Ball that kid was like already a brilliant basketball player. So I wanted to also have the experience of someone starting something that they kind of weren't good at and figuring it out along the way. So now skateboarding's my medicine. It's my everything. Yeah, I love skateboarding.
It's your own version of Medicine Wheels.
It is. Yep. Anytime I'm feeling blue, I'm like, let's get to a skate park.
Byron Graves is the author of Medicine Wheels. It's what we're reading. I'm Tammy Bobrowsky.